Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination thrive. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair. Calm down and get your feet kicked at the Sci-Fi Center. We got almost everything a geek could want at the Sci-Fi Center. You name it, we got it. Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and everything in between at the Sci-Fi Center.
Happy Wednesday. Well, about 8 minutes will be Wednesday. So technically this is a Wednesday show. So if I do one tonight, then that'll be the Hump Day show. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center Presents. This is another Midnight Express. Don't really have much of a topic. Really not a lot went on today, pop culture-wise. I don't know if I'm going to have a Brad tonight or not. I have not heard from Brad in a day or so, but who knows. So it may just be me because you know how he likes to nap. How's everybody doing? Last night was fun. I re-listened to the in the background while I was doing other stuff today at the store. I really enjoyed that show. That and the entire time I've been doing this streaming thing, that was probably one of my top 5 fun shows because it just kind of came out of nowhere. It was fun, like I just I don't do. Look who's here. And he's in the dark because he still has one outlet in the entire house, like Laura Ingalls in Little House.
No, I have. It can't reach this other one over here or that other one over there. So I got to get a search filter. I do think I look brighter tonight, though, maybe because I've literally got my laptop set up right in front of my on my desk, right in front of my my desktop. So it's kind of like as long as I move the mouse and it doesn't go to sleep, it's kind of projecting light onto me.
Oh, there you go.
And by the way. I just like about last night. You originally said we were taking Monday off, and then William sent me the message. Impromptu stream. But by the time he did that, I was just because I thought we were streaming. So I just gone to bed at a hour.
Brad does something I don't do, which is sleep. But yeah, last night was fun. That was probably, like I said, since I've been doing these, one of my top 5 fun shows because I wasn't planning on doing a show. I got home, I'm sitting here, and I'm like, I had enough energy to start it up. I mean, I had nothing going on that really was urgent for that immediate time. Nothing was on TV.
Yeah. That seemed kind of today, too. We didn't really we got a couple of trailers for things. I
didn't even see those.
Like Mighty Rock's talking about, like The Rock's Smashing Machine.
Yeah, where he doesn't look anything like The Rock.
He still sounds like him.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I saw that, and I'm like, dude, that's that makeup job there is just crazy.
Yeah, but I think we got like one other. It wasn't like a trailer, some other kind of. We had something Aaron's had to send too that we'll maybe talk about tonight.
Yeah, the Oscars. Fuck the Oscars. Listen, I've been saying this, and people have been, attacking me for not being artistic or not, knowing quality movies, and you just don't like this and that. I'm like, no, I grew up loving the Oscars. It used to be a family thing. When it used to be on Monday, we used to watch the Oscars, and as a family, we watched the Oscars. I grew up
Monday?
around. Yeah, it used to be on Mondays.
When I was growing up, I guess they shifted because I was remember it being on Sunday, but
Yeah, it used to be on Mondays when I was a kid, like all the way up into like the mid '90s, I think. And up until like recently, the last maybe 6 or 7 years. It was on a Monday, because I know when what's her face won for The Reader, it was on a Monday, because I would remember I was deployed doing an active duty stint in Colorado. I was in Denver, Colorado, and it was a Monday that I watched it on. So this Sunday thing is recent, but even then I used to watch it, and I used to think that, hey, the pinnacle of your career is winning an Oscar. Then I look at some of the stuff that wins, and then I look at who's voting, and then I look at how they vote. And now I'm hearing things that I've always suspected, that these assholes aren't even watching these movies.
Which that was Aaron tagged us in a discussing film article that said that I was just surprised that people were going on. I mean, they might have done like with the condition of anonymity, but like members of the Academy had come out and say that, yeah, a lot of times we get the screeners for stuff that's nominated. We'll just push play and not actually watch the movie, because it's like, it registers a view, but it can't tell that you're not sitting there watching it. So,
well, now they openly admit that they don't even watch, like they weren't watching what was the one that they weren't watching Dune. They didn't watch Dune.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I knew that was going to.
Why are you on the Academy if you're not watching Dune? So I finally got around to watching Anora. The fuck was that?
That was the winner for this past Oscar?
Yeah. It wasn't a horrible movie, don't get me wrong. But this is why, okay, so why should I care? The people who are voting for this stuff have already made up their minds. This is not saying, Anora was some awful movie. It was all right.
I haven't seen it yet.
It took me a while to get through it because it's not my content, but I was curious. I'm like, okay, what's this movie? And then I'm like, okay, so this every category the last maybe 5 or 6 years, I start rethinking. Angela Bassett. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis was really good in that movie. That was Angela Bassett's award. So now I have to ask the question, well, did they watch Wakanda Forever? Did they do like a lot of people did, or some people did, and say, oh, well, there's no Black Panther in it, I'm not going to watch it, I'll hit play. And any of these awards that they hand out are suspect. If you're not even watching all the movies, it's one thing for a fan like me to not watch all the movies, but if you're on the Academy and you're voting, how can you openly admit that? And why does there need to be rules? You're right now, you're gonna implement rules that should have already been part of the discipline. We're gonna make sure that you watch the movies. Literally, that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's like saying, hey, we're gonna make traffic cops write tickets. That's what you're there for, dude. I mean, so I have lost my connection with the Oscars. I no longer think it's the most important thing out there. If you look at, I always use Harrison Ford as an example. Harrison Ford is bigger than the Oscars for me. I mean, Harrison Ford has been nominated. He hasn't won, but Harrison Ford, you look at the breadth of his career, and to me, you look at the people who have won some of these awards. You have some people that you remember, but then you're going to have some people that, that you'll never hear from again. You will literally never hear from some of these people again. So I'm done. I'm done with it, man. It is that's put the nail in the coffin for me. And I don't really care if we're going to enforce the rules. No, you need to get new voters, and you need to get people who have an appreciation for all levels of movies. The whole fucking human interest stuff that's dominated it for too long. Great if the best movie of the year is one of those, but these guys are openly admitted that they're not watching these other movies. So movies I like, they don't have a chance to win it. So you put on an epic performance, and then for certain people not to get the nominating process is garbage too. How do you not nominate Denis Villeneuve? How do you not throw up on yourself and do that? I mean, and then and like I said, this isn't new. I've suspected this bullshit since like 1998. When you have Gladiator like I said, Gladiator, they hopped around Ridley Scott to give everybody on that movie an award, but Joaquin Phoenix and Ridley Scott, the two people who carried the movie, the guy directed the best movie of the year.
And that's always been weird to me because I've always felt like, when you get, I mean, now I'm not saying this needs to be like you package into one award, but I've always felt like Best Picture. I mean, that kind of implies Best Director too.
Yeah. So, and then you look at the pattern in the last 6 or 7 years. I mean, we've gone up and down some of these lists of these movies that I'm like, what were you people watching? You've turned the Academy Awards into the Lifetime Movie Network Awards. And that would be okay if that's what you really, but if you're saying you're not even watching these, why should I watch your ceremony if you're not even going to watch the movies? Forget about you voting for something I like. If they have to implement something for you to guarantee that the people who are supposed to be voting on this even watch all of the movies, then why should I watch your ceremony? And that's why I skipped it this year. I knew it was going to be a complete waste of time for me. And now, like I said, I don't know. Like I said, this is just basically what she tagged us in underscores what I've thought about the Oscar for a long time. And a little movie perp, I know you're out there, and I know you're probably going to screen clip this. I'm not changing my stance. Me and you went at it about why I didn't think that the Oscars had any relevance anymore. Every day that I look at some news from the Oscars, it's more and more stuff that really is what I suspected. Some of these movies that are really good don't have a chance. If the people voting them aren't even going to watch them, how are they going to be compelled to vote for them? If they've picked a handful of movies that this is cinema to us, and fuck everything else, then hell. Why even get dressed up and go out for that?
Yeah. Well, and again, also adding into the fact that, I mean, so often, a lot of what's like in the Best Picture category. How's it going, Daniel? So often a lot of what's in the Best Picture category is like, they're most years probably like half the movies nominated for Best Picture is like I discover their existence by their being nominated
that night of the fucking awards. Saw Sinners the second time over an hour ago. In my opinion, it's the best movie post-pandemic. The replay value is tremendous for the scene. I just can't. Like we were talking about this last time. I'm just not a replay guy. Once I see the movie, that's it for me. And it doesn't matter. Like I said, there's a handful of movies in my life that I've done that way. But a lot of times that doesn't mean I will never see the movie again over and over again. I'm just going to wait till it gets within my domain or, my screen. It's,
longer intervals between like,
and I can, if I want to watch a scene, I can watch the scene. Like we were discussing The Dark Knight. I don't watch that whole movie because I don't regard that whole movie as anything I need to see again. But Ledger's performances, I do watch.
And so let me to kind of clarify, because you talked about like your version of it. Like, did you actually like recut a version? You haven't like an actual version like on your
it's on the drive at the store. It's on the laptop at the store. It's all Heath Ledger's. I don't care about anything else in that movie.
Because you know what, Chad, maybe like William, Chad. Let me ask you, would you guys be down for a watch party of that, like William Powell's Dark Knight? Because obviously it's going to be a much shorter movie than the official Dark Knight, but that's like
it's the only thing I care about in that movie is Heath Ledger.
Because I'm curious like what that looks like. It's just like it's nothing but Joker scenes. So.
Yeah, it's the opening. It's the opening. Mm-hmm. It's the meeting, and then it's when he raised the party.
And it's
the hospital. Yeah, the Batman interrogation was probably one of the greatest scenes in Hollywood history.
And then the Batman rescuing the hostages in the
the boat.
Joker. So the movie literally ends with like madness.
He's hanging upside down.
Yeah, like that's the ending. Like cut to black, Dark Knight.
Yeah, I didn't do anything to Harvey. I just gave him a little push. I mean that's it for me. I don't watch that movie
because I definitely I have much higher esteem for the Dark Knight than William does, but I kind of want to see what this Joker centric version of it looks like. If you guys can be down for that, let's see. When we get back to doing like our Saturday watch parties, let's pencil that one in for later this year.
If you take Heath Ledger out of that trilogy, I haven't watched Batman Begins in years. I have not watched Batman. I have no desire to watch Batman Begins. It bores the shit out of me the times that I saw it. I know people hold it in high regard, and that is perfectly fine. I'm not here to change your mind. I literally fell asleep when I saw that in the movie theaters because I came back from deployment. I saw it when I was on. We got R&R, so we got 2 weeks in the States. All of us got 2 weeks for rest and relaxation, and I saw that in the movies. And I don't know whether it was because I was jet lagged from being on the other side of the world. I fought to stay awake, but then I watched it again when I got back from deployment. It's too slow paced for me. The Dark Knight was something special. His performance, you knew you were going in for something special when that first trailer came out. And like I said, and I'm not saying that the Dark Knight is like, Howard the Duck or anything like that. No, it has it's just that once I see Heath Ledger, the rest of that movie doesn't match him. The rest of the movie never raises to the level of his scenes for me. So I don't watch him anymore. And I know people love that. You can make fun of me and say, I can't believe you. Listen, I'm not here to change your mind. Don't try to change mine. The movie that's Heath Ledger is that movie for me. The Dark Knight Rises is a very disappointing movie. I don't even think it's a good movie. So I don't watch that very often. So if you're from my point of view, the Nolan trilogy is Heath Ledger. That's it for me. So those are I don't watch those movies over again. By far the best acting, Michael B. Jordan's character. Yeah. I had to take me a while to come to that conclusion because he's really good in the first two Creed movies.
Yeah, he's so good and he's so nice in it. You see him twice.
I mean, and he has to play two different characters that have two distinct different personalities. And like I said, he's producing that movie. He's a lot more than just the star of that movie. Okay, yeah, he's singing the Kyle Worthington song. We showed a lot of like old 80s commercials. Somehow Fourth dug out Santa's Village, a place I've actually been to, and just couldn't believe that anyone else would bring it up. And then Kyle Worthington in his dog spot, man.
William Bradley, you gonna go see Thunderbolts? I'm probably gonna see it Friday night. I guess I know I'm not gonna be able to get out to see it on Thursday.
I am gonna see it Saturday afternoon or not Saturday. This Thursday afternoon or this Thursday evening, one of the two.
Yeah, I know I'm not going to be able to. With it, I guess again, like I said, it's like a post-COVID, and a lot of it, part of it's my theater. Just like it doesn't do like, like later shows like it used to, pre-COVID. So I mean, I could go to the Pooler one, which I may end up doing that over the course of summer for like things I'm really really amped for. Like,
there's already people fucking it up online with the
there's
so
not.
You gotta watch out.
Well, I haven't seen spoilers, but I have people are like really playing. A, people are playing up as like, oh, this is like Marvel back in top form, and B, a lot of people are like really saying like the end. I mean, we kind of expect that from MCU movies, like, oh, the end credit scene is just out of this world.
The Marvel, like I said, I don't think there's any special formula for Marvel being top form other than to have movies that are either A-list or movies leading into A-list. That's the formula. There's nothing special about that. People just don't care about the middle ground stuff. Now, Thunderbolts are Z-listers, but they're Z-listers that are leading you into less than 3 months. We're going to have an A-lister, and I guarantee you, I haven't seen the movie yet. This will daisy chain into that, and then so on and so on. So yeah, but I can't wait to see it. Like I said, it might end up being my favorite Marvel movie in a while. Fourth, you definitely need to check it out. Fourth, I can't believe you haven't seen Sinners yet. For a guy who says go see things that are different and special, Sinners is different and special, man. Go out and see it, man. And for a guy who likes to be in the theater, I don't know how long it's going to stay in the theaters because it's already going to start losing IMAX screens this week with Thunderbolts. So its screen size is going to decrease simply because other movies are coming.
And also, I mean, like even like massive blockbusters. I mean, it's like 90% of their business in that first 2 weeks.
Yeah, first 2 weeks, 82% of the business. Also, I am totally missing this, but I've heard this from a lot of people. I have seen the movie, and maybe I need to see it a couple of different times when I get it on PVOD. I didn't feel 1 ounce of Tarantino in this. I love, dude. There are some of my favorite movies are Tarantino. I felt no Tarantino in this. And people, oh, what about Django? You like Django? No, I didn't feel that. I felt nothing of him and Robert Rodriguez and Dust Till Dawn. People kept throwing Dust Till Dawn out there. I'm like, I even watched Dust Till Dawn again a couple of days ago. I just don't feel it. But then I guess it's just a point of view. But it's fascinating how a lot of people have come to me and before I saw it and told me, some of the people that were at the pre-screenings, and I'm like, I watched it. I'm like, I didn't feel it, but still a great movie. Let's see. I thought him was directed by Jordan Peele. He's only producing, nonetheless. Looks brilliant. Yeah, Jordan Peele is going to probably start doing a lot more a lot more producing too. By the way, I confirmed William listens to Sci-Fi Center. What do you? Okay, of course. I mean, what do you mean? Oh, the song. How you doing, Steven? What's going on? We are good. William Bad. Have I seen the trailer for a while? I saw a little bit of the trailer. I saw enough to see him in it. Brad had to gather coal for his steam power PC. That's why he's late. Yeah, that's probably true. I'm not highlighting any Mortal Kombat 2 mess there with that.
Not.
Yeah, but you know what? That's not acceptable. If I can go out of my scope to see somebody, I saw Nora. I'm not on the Academy. All right, that's the kind of movie. Literally, I would rather eat fucking cat food than watch on a normal basis. But I was curious. I'm like, okay, what's the buzz about? And I saw it, and I'm like, not a horrible movie. Mickey Madison, whatever her name is, great actress. I don't think it was the best performance I saw in a long time. I don't think, and I liked Adrian Brody. I love Adrian Brody. I finally, oh my goodness, it took me 18 days to get through The Brutalist because I would start and stop it. That fucking movie's long. My goodness. It's long and it's slow. And then you had people that voted probably for Adrian Brody for Best Actor that have admitted that they didn't even watch the whole thing because they couldn't get through it. What's going on? I mean, I would have more respect if they were just open and honest before the process. So I know that some of these movies don't have a chance. Shit, maybe where's the MTV movie awards? Remember when that used to be the thing? Maybe they need to take the head of it because, like I said, I mean, didn't they wonder why nobody outside of Chris Rock getting slapped by Will Smith, why nobody watches these things? They add these, these categories and stuff to get people to watch. And I'm like, you want me to watch your ceremony when the people who are voting for it aren't even watching all the movies all the way through? If there's anybody who should be sitting through some of these directs, it's them. So, yeah, I would be surprised if anybody watches this ceremony next year. I mean, damn. I don't know. I have yet to see a Superman trailer at a theater. I haven't seen one in the actual theater. I know they're out there. I just got done watching Sinners, which is a WB film, Superman marketing. I like I said, it's not the worst thing in the world. I think they'll end up getting lucky and being fine. There's just so many missed opportunities. I mean, I've seen other people posting Funko Pop concepts, and I thought they were real. And I'm like, well, where's this so I can order it? I mean, I'd probably sell crypto, right out of the box. Haven't seen Nora, but heard Demi Moore should have won. I thought Demi Moore was. That was one of the movies I did see heading into the Oscars. I thought Demi Moore should have won that award. That's just me. But hell, I watched both movies. So yeah. Let's see. Haven't seen Nora, but okay.
The Oscars so backward. Everybody the higher, but at least I got the stunt Oscars now. But even that's like, okay, if you're not watching,
who cares? I mean, if you're not watching, who cares?
How are you gonna know what's the best stunt of the year, or what's the best fight scene of the year, or this or that? It's like, come on.
Heaven forbid it's in a long movie. They ain't gonna care. I mean, you got people out there risking their lives and doing stunts for movies that they ain't even gonna watch. I mean,
and they already. I mean, it's already. I mean,
bring up that article, please.
Let me just. Let me go.
I just really. Like I said, I'm not completely shocked because looking at what they vote for, I'm like, there's no way in hell you saw these other movies at any given year and you voted for that.
It's on Variety.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Great tree of knowledge that always is.
Yeah. All right. So, Oscars new rule requiring voters to watch all nominated.
Stop right there.
Even just
stop right there. The headline is so disgraceful. The article doesn't even matter. The headline is so disgraceful that
I can't even read all the way through it yet.
It is like, what the hell? That is like a headline saying we're requiring dog catchers to catch dogs. We're having a new rule for people who are supposed to be doing a certain thing to actually do that thing. Continue.
Yeah, but as William said, even just that, you can't even read the headline all the way through without just going like, "What the hell is this?" The Oscars do requiring voters to watch all nominees could reach. Yeah, I can't even that. Like, okay, it's like you actually watching the movies, like that could reach it. You can't read this headline's entirely without stopping. Like,
and then, but Academy Award winner, Academy members have already found loopholes, meaning they still don't care. They're finding ways not to do what they are literally there to do. It's not like homework. It's not like my dog ate it. This is what you literally leave the Academy. Give up your vote. Give it to me. Give your vote to me. I will go watch some of these Drek movies. I'll watch Anora for you. All right. I'll watch Slumdog Millionaire. I'll watch some of these movies that I would literally rather just, like I said, eat hot garbage than watch.
The way this keeps getting better. Like every new sentence I read, this just keeps getting like, what the hell am I reading? Oscars may actually have to do their homework. That's because the Academy has implemented a rule requiring members to watch every film in a category in order to vote and to fill out forms verifying when and where they viewed it. Again, you know what this reminds me of? It's there's a one joke Chris Rock tells where he describes like deadbeat fathers and contrasts it with like fathers who say it's like, well, I take care of my kids. Like, you're supposed to, you dumb motherfucker.
Yeah, I've never gotten arrested. Yeah, you're not supposed to get arrested. Yeah, I remember.
What do you want, a cookie?
Yeah.
The mandate might as well be called the brutalist rule, a nod to Brady Corbet's 250-minute epic that stands as Exhibit A for what the Academy hopes to fix. The A24.
Yeah, and you feel all 215 of those minutes, buddy.
Yeah, well, you can watch it. I mean, I don't even have a problem like if they watch it in installments. It's like like break it up. It's like
like I did. It took me almost fucking months. Go ahead.
The A24 film earned 10 nominations and 3 wins this past season, even as some voters privately admitted they never pressed play or finished it. Or worse, it simply played in the background while they answered emails and roll calls. This was overdue, one producer tells Variety, over fucking two. While the goal is to create a more equitable system where the smaller gems don't get lost in noisier, well-funded campaigns, some of the Academy question whether the mandate will lead to better informed... You're gonna have to finish that sentence for me, man. I can't.
Better informed choices. that we could use that, or simply encourage new ways of gaming the system. If you're going to game the system, get out of it. I mean, if you don't want to watch the stuff, get out. Give a vote to Brad. Give a vote to me. I'll go watch your movies. I'll go. Listen, I will show you. Can film me. I'll film me watching your movie.
They might have to do that. Actually, it's like that's like the way to confirm people have seen. It's like you have to turn on the camera, like to confirm you watched it.
I will give audio commentary of why I'm not voting for your shit or why I am voting for your stuff. I mean, obviously the brutalist. I'm going to stop. Pause. Okay, first of all, this movie's too fucking long. Dude, it takes a long time to get where it needs to go. Agent Brody is great, but it's stretched out over a very, 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 very paceful movie that's like, oh, okay. So this Nora has a lot of slow moments and a lot of things that I just don't care about. Yeah, she gets into the character. She does a wonderful job, but the movie itself is like nothing special in my opinion. It wasn't those other awards. And now you're gonna film me watching The Substance. Nasty ass movie. It's gross, but Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, who I thought should have gotten nominated. They're great in that movie. They carry that movie in an atmosphere that is just so convincing. And Demi Moore should have won for Best Actress, and she didn't. I would have said that. I mean, like I said, Nate. Here's my rule: you not only have to watch the movie, you got to set up a camera behind you while you're watching the movie, with you sitting there watching it. And without that, your vote don't count.
Yeah, but that's how they're going. That's how somebody's gonna figure out to game the system. They're gonna do like we're in Home Alone 2, where he puts like the inflatable clown in the shower. Someone's gonna try that.
No, it ain't gonna be like Ant-Man, where you got the ant with the bracelet on, while the FBI is monitoring him. No, you got thumbprint something. You have to verify, just like when you get screeners. When we get screeners, we got to type in codes and shit.
Yep.
You got a camera on your thing. So if you're playing it, when I hit play, that camera's right there, and as soon as you disable that camera, you're voting. You stop. You don't get your vote. All right. I'm sorry, but this is not something you. Why did you come to this party if you didn't want to play? I don't understand. Okay, go ahead and finish reading this.
Academy sources say the reception from members has been overwhelmingly positive, and that many had requested to change for years. Okay, that's good to hear. Historically, watching every nominated title was recommended.
Okay, time the fuck. What? What?
This article is hilarious. It's recommended you watch the movie where you're going to judge whether or not it's the best movie of the year or not.
How are you going to say this movie was the best over this movie when you didn't watch this movie? That's like a taste test where you only taste one thing and you just toss the other thing off the table. That literally makes no sense. That's literally what are you doing? Why? Why should I watch your ceremony?
I love this phrasing. It's like that it was recommended but not required. This has got to be one of the funniest articles I've read in a long time. Members often leaned on buzz, publicists, friends, and family to fill in the gaps. One executive for the Academy's marketing branch recalls times in the 1980s and 90s when their boss handed over a blank Oscar ballot and said, "You've seen more." I wish I were a fly at the Oscars at some point, where their boss would say, "You've seen more than me. Fill this out."
This explains a lot.
Yes, it does. It wasn't uncommon. Ballots were mailed and sometimes completed by assistants or even voters' adult children. He had never even heard of half the movies, but he voted anyway.
Okay, this is a fraud. This is fraud, is what this is. This is fraud because especially back in the 80s and 90s, when you put that Academy Award label on top of a winner's work, that changes sometimes the trajectory, maybe not for an individual, but for studios. Studios love getting nominated for this stuff. It reinforces their sales pitch for people to give them money to make movies. Some people follow Oscars, some people have been chasing this their entire career, been nominated. So this is fraud, is what this is for me.
I mean, well, I guess we can take some consolation, like Heath Ledger's win. I mean, because everybody saw The Dark Knight, so that we at least know they saw that movie.
Well, see, I saw all those movies. This is the non-comedy guy. I saw Tropic Thunder.
I did too.
And I'm sorry, I loved Robert Downey Jr. in that movie. But once you see Heath Ledger, and I saw, I didn't think Heath Ledger was getting beat anyway, but I was willing to watch all those movies because Robert Downey Jr. had already he's at that level. So I watched it. I'm sorry, Heath Ledger gives a top 10 all-time, villain hero performance that I've ever seen in my lifetime. That was his award.
And RDJ, did in Oppenheimer. So,
Oppenheimer was the same thing. And I watched those movies. So I have to go outside of my box and watch. You know what I saw? I forgot what the movie was. I don't think it was Lady Bird. Because remember, they send us to these movies. We promote these movies, and sometimes I go see movies that I don't want to see because I'm the only one there, and we've given away 50, 60 tickets, and I don't want the little studio person to get overwhelmed by my circus. So I go. Sometimes I go just to leave. I go get everything set up. Every now and then I'm like, hey, I got a couple hours. Or sometimes there's another screening that I at the same theater that I'll go. So I'll watch some of these movies. So you mean to tell me a guy who has the most narrow focus of
sci-fi horror fantasy,
science fiction horror fantasy, I want the 3Ds. You mean a guy like me has seen and is watching more of these movies than these guys are? That's nightmarish right there.
Aaron says, let me pull this one up. Aaron's got a couple of zingers here. This first one. Imagine pushing play on your screen and then muting it and walking away from the screen just to make out that you watched it to the Academy. Yeah.
And then voting for some bullshit that you didn't even see. Watch something that might be more deserving, or someone that might be deserving doesn't get it because you did not experience these movies. That's not fair. That's not fair to anybody.
And then all this reminds me of that episode, The Simpsons, The Critic, where they all vote for short films, but at least Homer saw all the films. Yeah, but I mean, Aaron, we can all agree, man, that was football in the groin's ear, wasn't it? Football in the groin got screwed, didn't it? Okay, let me go back to the article.
Let's see. It wasn't. Go ahead.
So like a voter's children, he had never even heard half the movie. Yeah, I already got to that part. One executive says, recalling observing studio heads during Hollywood's golden age, the analog era, along with DVD mailers, faded with the 2020 introduction of the Academy Screening Room, an online portal featuring tight security and two-factor authentication, which that is fairly common these days for screeners. Two-factor authentication. I actually remember when I got the screener for Zack Snyder's Justice League, I had to have two-factor authentication for that, which, I mean, given that movie's history, I mean, that's not really surprising.
Yeah, mainly because of piracy, but still, it should be for piracy, not for you to do something
which, by the way,
volunteered to do.
To kind of kind of illustrate there, all you people maybe not got press screeners. When you get a screener, what they do with that is they you give them your email. What they do is it's an anti-piracy measure. They put they watermark you with your email so they can, like, if it leaks, they can track the source of the leak. It's just kind of anybody hasn't seen screeners where that's kind of a way one security measure they have for it. The digital transition closed off some legacy loopholes like password sharing, but not all. Today, some members, particularly in the executive marketing and PR branches, simply press play. Yeah, this was the headline for the headline. Simply press play on the Academy app to satisfy the system's viewing requirement. Then mute the audio or switch tabs. The app only needs to see that you watched it. Says one voter, doesn't know if you're sitting there. Another member admits they hit play before leaving the house. Man.
All right, this other part's disturbing. Votes may acknowledge are often driven by professional allegiance. You think I'm voting against my own campaign? Last one executive, I'm voting for my stuff, which is okay. Methods designed to get voters.
You notice nobody's like on the record here. These are
they will never be. They would lose their jobs. Methods designed to get voters to engage aren't new. The Academy. All right, you are part of this. You are willingly a part of this. Why am I forcing you to do what you're supposed to be doing already? I mean, it's not like you're there by gunpoint. The Academy already implemented a simpler measure for international viewing, feature voting, requiring members to view a designated group of about a dozen films during the nomination phase. That system has its own loopholes, from speed watching films at 1.5, pressing play before heading to the gym. This is embarrassing.
There's no penalty for pledging on the online forum that you watch the title, even if you didn't. It operates on the honors. Well, we see how that's turning out. And the Academy will not verify members' information. Members don't seem overly concerned with the additional paperwork, but some strategists worry that forgetful voters might fall behind on off-platform viewing. Do you keep up with your letterboxd? One strategist points out, the new rule also aims to prevent the single film from dominating the ceremony. Between 2009 and 2021...
Slow down.
Okay. The most awarded Best Picture winner was Catherine Bigelow's 2008 war movie, The Hurt Locker, with 6 statuettes. Every other top winner took 4 Oscars or fewer, reflecting the members' inclination to spread the wealth. But recently, distribution has been skewed. The 2020, everything everywhere.
Hold on for a second. I liked that movie. I didn't think it was the best movie of the year, but that's just my opinion. But I saw these movies.
Everything everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually, a little bit surprised. I love it, but it's like I was surprised that it got the Best Picture nomination and the win, because it swept the awards. And the reason why I was surprised is because you talk about your genre focus. It's got a lot. It's a mashup of it. It's sci-fi, it's martial arts, it's comedy, it's it's romance. Those are things that don't tend to get like Best Picture. You're throwing genres that are historically don't get Best Picture love into one movie that got a ton of Best Picture love and all other categories. And not to say that I mean, Ke Huy Quan and Michelle Yeoh, I mean, their wins are absolutely deserved. But yeah, that was a pleasant surprise for me though that it did so well and got the Best Picture win.
All right, so let's look at this. I'm going to look at the year that The Hurt Locker won.
All
right, it beat out Avatar. It beat out The Blind Side. All right,
District The Blind Side kind of like maybe some people might say that was kind of like might have been for the best.
It beat out Inglourious Bastards, which it wasn't better than. Yeah, and then for Best Directing, Catherine Bigelow won. I thought that James Cameron should have won for Avatar. I thought that Quentin Tarantino for Inglourious Bastards did a better job than her. I mean, Sandra Bullock won for The Blind Side, which I like Sandra Bullock. I saw that movie. Helen Mirren was better. Meryl Streep for Jewel and Julia. I remember that. She played Julia Child. I saw that movie because it was they were actually showing that at the deployment I was on. Christoph Waltz won for Inglourious Bastards, which was
deserved.
Was right. Christopher Stanley Tucci with a Lovely Bones. Stanley Tucci was great in Lovely Bones, but Christoph Waltz was a little bit better. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, now, if I review some of these winners, I'm like,
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt now. Okay, go back to the Oscar. Yeah, but recently distributions was skewed. The 2022 action comedy Everything Everywhere All at Once and Christopher Nolan's 2023 biopic Oppenheimer both landed 7 Oscars, while last year's indie winner Anora took 5 of its 6 categories. Ironically, movies with the sole nomination might now have a better chance of winning their category, provided they earn prizes from other awards groups and lead up to voting. Because members must view all the nominees in the category before they can vote on it, I can't believe a voting branch's own members could play a decisive role. Tate Maria, which last year was only nominated for cinematography and likely was not widely viewed outside of the cinematographer's branch. I've never heard of that movie. So that, have you, William?
What?
Have you ever heard last year Maria?
I've heard of it, but I did not see it.
Yeah. So I mean, that lends credence to that, and that wasn't widely viewed. Meanwhile, eventual winner The Brutalist, which based on reporting wasn't as widely seen, haven't seen that either, likely benefited from greater visibility and an aura of prestige.
Okay, but you voted Adrian Brody as the best actor. How does that happen? Even if I'm on board with it, the people who actually pressed the button for the vote are openly admitting that they did not watch the movie that he was nominated for. And I'm looking at this year. So I'm looking at this year's Oscar, and I'm sorry. Dune 2 should have won. Dune 2 should have won. Now, and as soon as, because remember, this was this happened after that. This article comes after the one where they basically said that a lot of people didn't even finish watching Dune or didn't start watching Dune. I'm sorry, but if you're true to this whole cinema experience thing, and you saw what Denny put together in Dune Part 2, and you saw Nora, I'd like to talk to you about your decision. Just curious. I'm not going to damn you for it. I'm just curious. How, if you didn't watch that awe-inspiring thing that was Dune 2, I can't understand how you justify anything else. I'm not saying that you would have necessarily voted for it, because I'm pretty sure some people saw both and voted for Nora. But if there is a significant amount of people who are not watching Dune 2, a movie that's nominated for Best Picture, how can I care about whatever you did choose? That's a literary fraud, in my opinion. But go ahead.
So go back to, yet had the rule be in place, Maria would, which won the Cinematographer Guild's top prize, could have been a viable challenger since the number of eligible voters would have dipped.
Slow down, because I'm trying to keep up with you reading at the same time I'm reading a whole bunch of other things. So.
Indeed, studios may be motivated to encourage members to watch all the nominated films in the I get all the different ways this is phrased are just hilarious. It's like they might be motivated to tell people, watch the movies, you're going to vote on and the Oscars to determine whether it's the best movie of the year.
I'm going to give you an example here. This is really I'm okay. So Honora won for Best Picture. I by no means did I think that was the best picture I saw this year. A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, which the nominating process right there needs to be something going on there. But I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, which I think was a better movie than Honora. And I didn't see Wicked. I have an excuse. I'm not on the board. Yeah. Adrian Brody beat out Timothée Chalamet, Complete Unknown. By the way, nominating process, Timothée Chalamet should have been nominated for Best Actor in Dune. Because I saw Complete Unknown and I saw Dune Part 2, and I'm sorry. Coleman Domingo, Ralph Fiennes in Conclave, Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice, and he gave it to Adrian Brody. In a movie that you
didn't watch.
Kieran Culkin in Real Pain. I have not seen that. Who did I see any of these ones? So I didn't see any of the ones that were in the no, Brutus, Guy Pearce. I mean, so I can't really tell you because I didn't see, and I'm not going to see a Real Pain. But once again, not part of the board. Best Writing Original Screenplay. Zoe Saldana won for Amelia Perez. I couldn't get in 5 minutes past that. Marka Barbaro, I saw Complete Unknown. I thought she was great. I mean, were you watching? I see. And when I look down this list, I'm wondering, did you watch these things? So it calls into question: A, did you watch these things that you voted for, or in the ones that you didn't vote for, did they even have a chance? And ultimately, why even televise this stuff? Dude, put this on streaming, and if somebody wants to watch it, they can.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Indeed, studios may be motivated to encourage members to watch all the nominated films in the category, including those from competing studios, especially if they sense a rival title's broader popularity among other branches. It underscores that now more than ever, every vote counts. Some prominent Academy vote members believe gaming the system represents a tiny minority of the membership. I'm not cynical enough to think people weren't watching, says Scott Schumann. He's the only guy on record here. Scott Schumann, head of AMC Networks Film Group. I go to Cannes, Telluride, Toronto, and Sundance. Then the Academy app lights up, and I know what to watch. I don't know how others keep up, but it's our responsibility, and the fact that they had to put it on paper is a little bit eye-opening. With the debut of an Oscar for casting, recognition of stunts forthcoming, right on, and a promising slate of films ahead.
Who cares, though? Who cares?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so it's like right on for something that's now like it's completely invalidated by all this information.
Oh, you set yourself on fire in a movie I watched for 15 minutes? I'm going to vote for you.
And a promising slate of films ahead. The Academy hopes that mandate will preserve the integrity that's now been totally shit on of its nearly 100-year-old organization. One executive branch member offered a blunter take. The whole system is based on trust, and trust in Hollywood bullshit. Yeah.
I'm done. Okay. To be fair, I was already, you guys, I've expressed on this very platform that I was already done. And I got castigated for not watching. Look, you didn't watch, these people put a lot of hard work into this. You didn't watch the Oscars. You know what? They didn't watch the movies. Go after them. You should not have this article. You should not have them saying that we're going to make improvements. No. If you don't want to be part of the Academy, get out. If you don't want to be part of the voting, get out. But you voting for things you didn't watch or not even watching things and giving them a shot to be overwhelmed by them, that's fraud to me. That's an absolute waste of time. And like I said, I'm always sitting there watching, well, how the hell did that win? Well, in some cases, maybe because they didn't see anything else.
Yeah.
And the politicking and everything else, I've always known that that's been there in the campaigns. But listen, they clearly say here that the campaigns are not even mattering. The campaign, they're not going to open your email if they're not even opening your movie to watch it. And it's free for them. It's not like me. I got to come out of my pocket to rent these things or go to see these things. That's free. All I got to do is open up their email and click on the link and watch it. And if you can't watch with integrity, if you don't want to, I understand. Some of these movies are awful, all right? Some of these movies bore my eyeballs out of my skull. I understand. Then get out. My excuse is that some of these movies are vomit-worthy. They're boring. They're human interest things I don't care about. I am a science fiction horror fantasy thing. The only thing I care about humans is how they die, get eaten, disintegrated, get dismembered. That's me. But it's okay for me to have that narrow focus. But if you're the one saying this is going to be the best movie of the year, that would imply that you watched the movies that you're saying it's the best of.
I guess it's good. I guess it's a good thing we had an open topic tonight because I mean that gave plenty of real estate for all this.
And I'm like, but then they're like, well, the Oscars is adding things to get different generations in the. Nobody cares, all right. This is why they've drifted away from the kind of movies people want to see anyway. And well, this is not every movie needs to make $1 billion to be a classic. You can lose money, and that's fine. You're right. But it doesn't matter how much money it makes or doesn't make because an Academy Award voter sees it for free. So these movies, you're just pressing a button. Now I know how some of these movies I don't hear about until the first commercial of Oscar happens, and I'm like, well, what? When was this out? Some cat, not even him, his kid or his assistant pushed a button. And what is this, scratch and sniff? Will you let your pug do it? What are you, one of those people who have like the little bowls with the names of the movies and whatever the one your dog tosses the ball in, that wins?
And see, here's the real paradox of all this too, is that with this whole all this revelation I think it's now you could probably surmise the likelihood of like whether or not the voting Academy members have seen the movies they're voting on by the mainstream popularity of it. Like how well it did the box office, basically. But at the same time, again, I mean, this is why they tried to do the whole best picture and popular film and the Oscars fan vote, whatever that stuff was about. Because again, they were trying.
Real quick. Mine has her in it because she's in the party scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry.
What's on? Yeah. So at the same time, they the Oscars historically has had this perception of what they're bestowing accolades onto is kind of at odds with what's the mainstream public is seeing. That's why so often we'll see something come about in the Best Picture nomination. It's like I've never even heard of this before, and so that's why they tried to implement best picture and popular film. And then they did the Oscars fan vote that of course the Snyder fandom hashtagged our way to it, and we actually saw those. I mean, you could definitely. I don't think you don't have to try to refer to. Did these fans actually see Zack Snyder's Justice League or see Army of the Dead? Yeah, we did.
We saw it.
So
we have proof. We can watch it.
With many people in the comments and the panel. It's like we are doing better than the Academy.
Yeah. So I'm done.
Two of his Zack's movies, and we can now in a bit of a quantifiable sense that we're doing the Academy's job better than they are.
Yeah, I mean, give me a vote. I promise you, Oscars, I will watch the movies. I will watch. Listen. This is some shit here. All right, listen. All right, let's go down the list here. Let's go down the list. I saw Nora. I would have rather gotten kicked in the face by a goat than watch that, but I was curious. I did it. All right, Complete Unknown. Watched it. Haven't seen Conclave. Yeah, this is last year. Haven't seen Conclave. But guess what, Oscars? Guess what? You give me a vote, I would rather have my tongue ripped out by a lawnmower than watch Conclave. But I'll do it for you.
Has got the best metaphor of anybody.
For you. I saw Dune 2 because I thought this was the best movie of the year. Yeah. All right, Amelia Perez, I would rather be disemboweled without anesthesia than watch that. But Oscar, I'll do it for you. You give me the vote, I will judge it. I will watch it. I will sit through it for you. And I will do it on screen so that you know I'm doing it. I won't pistol whip it.
I'm still here, haven't seen it.
I'm still here, haven't seen it. Don't really hate it. Don't know what it was. Nickel Boys, I heard it was decent. The Substance I saw. The Substance is one of the nastiest movies I ever laid eyes on, and I've seen some nasty shit. I watched it. I would have voted for that. Wicked.
I've seen it.
Wicked. There's a movie that I have avoided like the plague.
Aaron is more qualified than most of the Academy members apparently.
We'll bring somebody on the Sci-Fi Center Presents that did enjoy watching that movie. But
did.
You know what, Oscars, listen. All right. I don't know what to convince you to get rid of these people and not even hire me, just so that I could help give a better representation of who's out here watching these movies for real. Wicked. I'll do it. I'd rather drink out of the toilet first, but I'll do it for you. So here you go. You have me, who would avoid these movies like the bubonic plague. I will do it. I am willing to do it for you, just to make this a little bit more, integral. But so send me a vote. I promise you, we will do it on this stream. You will not have to worry about me not watching. You might have to worry about me not liking them.
Yeah,
but at least it'll be real.
I mean, that's opinions like assholes,
Yeah, at least it'll be a real opinion. If I say that Wicked, what am I watching? What am I watching? I would rather have the flying monkeys fly out of my ass than watch this.
William is like,
but I'm watching it.
That's like 5 in a row on this.
I'm watching it though. I am watching it for real. You ain't gonna have to worry about, wow, I wonder if William watched. No, you can watch me fully disgusted watching these movies live. And then when I vote, that asshole didn't vote for anything, but I watched him. There'll be more truth and integrity in my vote than there is in these people who are hitting the button and going to the gym, dude.
And what I was saying a second ago is, like, of the and by the way, I'm gonna pull this up from Aaron. Sci-Fi Center does a better job in the Academy, even though William didn't see Wicked. I did and contributed doing it. Yeah, exactly.
He actually did a review for the channel,
and we did. William and I did, for Gladiator 2, and that, even though it wasn't best, it should have been, but it wasn't for Best Picture nod. But going back to what I was saying a second ago, like, of the 10 Best Picture nominees, like, I think it's fair to say, like, the two biggest in terms of, like, mainstream, like what they did theatrically and how well they are known in the among mainstream audiences. I think most of us agree with those are Dune Part 2 and Wicked. And so that this is like the weird kind of paradox this is revealed, where it's like, again, you can infer with a little bit more certainty that the Academy voters have seen something based on, like, how well it did commercially, how well it's known and seen in the mainstream. But by the same token, again, with the perception of the Oscars kind of being out of sync with the mainstream, movie going mainstream, like,
and the truth,
exactly.
With the truth apparently.
Because... So it's like they're more likely to have seen, like, big blockbusters being tentpoles, but are they really? Because they tend to ignore those anyway. So
at least they actually go to the movies to see those. I would hope they've seen those in the movies, but Daniel, no on every level here. I think The Dark Knight Rises is the most comic booky. Absolutely not. Of the trilogy leans more into fantastical eras. No, because their version of Bane, which is a dreadful character to begin with, was horrible, and I love Tom Hardy. It's very rewatchable. No, I can't even listen to The Dark Knight. That's how bad that movie is to me. And some plot holes. Okay, everything between the opening and closing credits is a plot hole. And yes, I don't hate it. I just think it's a bad movie. I just don't. I think the trilogy is overrated.
Yeah, man, hell of a topic. Aaron says,
no chance. No chance.
Well, again, like, 80-90% of their business done in the first 2 weeks. It's still going to do well.
Yeah, it's going to do well, like I said, and they're going to start taking Thunderbolts is literally going to start affecting Sinners because of the screen. So
again, the fact that the 6% weekend 1 to weekend 2 drop of Sinners. I mean, it's like, that's, again, you don't see that happen, where it's like Sinners essentially held on to its audience for weekend 1 going into weekend 2.
A 5% drop is amazing. Yeah.
But again, at this point, it's going to drop a more substantial amount.
Yeah, but it's already made what it's going to make.
Yeah.
Listen, when I watch this movie, I'm trying to. Whenever I watch a movie that's outside of my scope, I try to put myself in the shoes of the people who do like these movies and just to see what they want. I don't want to come in just hating. I hate watching as a waste of my time. I was curious. I wanted to see it, and I'm like, it just wasn't for me. Yeah, she's good in it for what she's being asked to do in her role. But Demi Moore, I'm sorry, Demi Moore was I was so convinced about everything. So that's just me. Brutalist should have won Best Picture. Shit, apparently they couldn't even sit through that. Brutus is a really good movie, but man, pack a lunch.
Where's this one from Aaron? I was bring up a second ago.
It's about a stripper. It's about a stripper that marries a Russian mafia. And like I said, there's a lot of reading and translating, but she's and her learning Russian. She did a lot for that role. I'm not knocking her, but if now that I've seen her in The Substance, her, in that movie and Demi Moore in The Substance, Demi Moore was light years better than her. And it's like I said, I love Jamie Lee Curtis. I grew up with Jamie Lee Curtis being the final girl in about everything. But Angela Bassett was the best supporting actress that year, and now I'm like, okay, what were you guys doing then? Did you let your cat throw a ball of yarn at the target and that's who get it? And I hate to say that, but when you have to make rules like this, I have to ask. I need to know.
All they need to do is watch 10 feature films, 5 shorts, 5 documentaries, 5 animation films, along with 5 animated shorts. Yeah.
And you know what? Okay, now I've been on record for some of the decisions that the Oscars made. Godzilla -1. You know how we feel about that movie. I hold that movie in the highest regard. But did you even watch Creator in order to designate that as number one? Are you falling for criteria that the Oscars are not supposed to be? Well, wow, that's a $15 million movie. I'm so impressed. Okay, be impressed somewhere else. That's not the title of the award. So now that I'm hearing this, I'm like, okay, there you go. I saw the Heron movie, and I saw Across the Spider-Verse. I saw them both, and that animator is a legend. I'm not knocking him in any way, shape, or form, but I have to wonder.
Well, I got to also go.
The reigning Academy Award winner for that award got beat out by that movie. So, did you think it was an actually better movie than Across the Spider-Verse, or did you just push some buttons?
Well, and like I'm looking back at the Oscars from the previous year from 24, and here are the nominees. There, Oppenheimer, which won, American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, Holdovers, Killer of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Past Lives, Poor Things, and Zone of Interest. Now, I bring this up because, as you just heard, that has Oppenheimer and Barbie on there. With this news, I question how many people saw Barbie, and and how much this may have been driven less by like actual voting and more like about we're just kind of like the Barbenheimer thing was like too big for us to ignore, so we got to nominate on both.
All right, now I thought they got the right best movie that year.
Oppenheimer,
because Dune wasn't there.
Well, what are your thoughts on that though? Because I feel like this might indicate that it was more like we're just like throwing a bone to the Barbenheimer phenomenon.
This year, because I saw a lot of these movies, I saw Holdovers, which I thought was great. But Cillian Murphy was better. I believed him as Oppenheimer. Bradley Cooper and the Maestro was good, but I didn't see that movie completely. So, but Jeffrey Wright was great in American Fiction. I did see that movie. I think for the most part, now I love Emma Stone and some of the stuff she's done. She's done, but I thought Lily Gladstone should have won that award, but that's just me. That was something I didn't have an issue with. All right, best actress in a supporting role. I saw the Holdovers. And Joy Root, she's a great actress, but I thought Emily Blunt. Was the best actor. But see, some of these in 24 were closer to where, okay, I could see where you went here or there. But then again, yeah, once you throw this into the mix, then I'm wondering. So I watched these movies and came up with a closer interpretation. Did they even watch it? So when they voted for a movie that won, yeah, you have to, whenever you have to implement these rules, yeah, you have to ask a question that, it sucks that you have to ask it, but, they made it, they created a situation. Imagine pushing on play on your screener and muting. Yeah. I mean,
actually,
like I said, it's like a hostage situation. You're there by will, right? You volunteered for this.
Actually, you know what? Aaron, like another Simpsons comparison. You remember the episode where Homer intentionally like gets over like 300 pounds so he can work from home, and he's like I'm just gonna play hooky, and like he has that he gets one of those little birds that dips down like that, and it does that to like press the Y key on his keyboard.
Hey, Sinners is set in 1933, guys.
Oh, Bell Rev, how's it going?
Hello.
Maybe we should do yeah, I mean, maybe we should pick up some of the slack for him.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's bought another topic into the mix. You know, this is open topic, guys. You talk about what you want to talk about. There's nobody talking about anything else. What do I think about the team? I'm gonna buy that title. I'm gonna put that title up here. That title's nice on that blue leather. I hope TNA does something with it. I know. When you have a tier title like that, like the international title for AEW, I think that if you should have a number 2 belt that you put on to see how any particular individual does as a champion. Is that person? How does the audience react to that person as a champion? Like they used to do in the 80s. Like you always go back to Randy Macho Man Savage was Intercontinental champion, went on to be world champion after they saw he could draw. Ultimate Warrior, saw he could draw Intercontinental champion. They moved up. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. For that, those number 2 titles, and in NWA, the U.S. titles, Sting, Lex Luger, all those guys would move up. Ric Flair would always move up once they saw that they could draw with that mid-card belt. So I would like to see TNA. I love the look of the belt. I was actually in the crowd when they unveiled that belt, and it was beautiful. So I'm actually going to buy that belt and add it to the collection because it should be cheap. But I like it. I just hope they use it. I want whoever holds these number 2 belts, stop having these matches for we're going to have a 4-way, 10-way match for the number 1 contender. I'm like, you literally have a dude wearing your mid-card belt. He should be the number 1 contender. So I hope that's what TNA does. All right.
Bill Rev asked William, do you watch I don't think I'm going to go on a limb and say no.
I've actually watched some, depending on what the topic is. Okay. It used to be Lifetime, and it was like, Hallmark shit, things like that. But every now and then, they did some serial killer stuff. Hey, if you serial killers, it's like a mousetrap to me. I'll risk my head to get me some serial killer stuff. So.
Or Tubi originals. Yeah.
I don't watch as much Tubi originals as I should because they actually put on some good shit.
Yeah,
so
they're on the come up as a streamer, Tubi.
Yeah, and they got like commercials and stuff for their stuff. So yeah. Let's see. OG Wizard of Oz is a goat. It still holds up. Those flying monkeys creep me out. Especially when they attacked them and they ripped up the scarecrow like that. I'm like, dude, this is some serious shit. And then it's all drug induced anyway. So because Frank Ball was bad.
Are you saying the same thing like as Scooby Doo? The whole thing was just like a hallucination.
Yeah, it's. I mean, in the poppy fields, people. Hello. Yeah. Listen, all the shit that we got funneled to us as little kids. All right, Scooby Doo.
Yeah,
hear me out.
In a van with a talking dog.
In a van, a hippie van, going across the country with no forms of income. There's a talking dog. So one or two things.
They're chasing monsters all the time too.
Either you're doing enough drugs that the dog appears to be talking, or it's the other way around. Either instance is drug induced. Scooby Snacks, Google the history of that. All right. Fred is wearing an ascot. There you go. Why is Shaggy always hungry? So anything that Sid and Marty Krofft did, you will never convince me otherwise. HR puffing stuff, Puff the Magic Dragon. Come on, they were getting high and they were creating high.
There's another cartoon from my childhood that it's sort of they had to walk this back because they got some backlash because this was too explicit for any parent to not object to. But it was Rocko's Modern Life, which has Aaron, has the Wallaby from Australia as the main character, and he lives in this town that has this restaurant called Choky Chicken.
Okay, that's like Pee Wee Herman getting away with all.
And they-
All you had to do was watch Pee Wee Herman's Showtime routine, and then you watch his TV show on
Yeah.
Saturday morning. You're like, whoa, he got
And-
away with a lot of shit. For
and
4
they, and
years.
well they did get it back. Like, they eventually- on that, and they eventually had to change it to call it Chewy Chicken. But now I'm watching
that might be worse. I mean,
yeah, I guess.
hey, fourth, I used to watch them all, dude. Remember, there used to only be 5. All right, I sat through 15-year-old me sat through one of the worst movies that I saw win an Academy Award, in my opinion, The Last Emperor. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You want some bore torture? That movie won Best Movie, and it won a lot of Academy Awards. And I'm like, there should be a movie about me watching it that should win an Academy Award, because it was long, it was boring. Every now and then they get it right, though. Every now and then they get it right. I mean, Braveheart won in 95. I really wish Heat would have got more love and nominated, but I don't think it did. But now, like I said, but I always figured, okay, you know what, disappointed. Now that I'm like, dude, you guys didn't even, but I used to watch them all. I even used to watch, and when I was in school, because I went to drama class, and in high school, you're lucky you had film, structure class, and the teachers would show these. Every Oscar season, they would show these to us. So even the international shit with the subtitles, we watched it. They rolled in that TV with the big VCR on it and the wheels, and we watched that stuff, dude, because that's literally what the class was. So up until 2010, I watched them all. Whether I liked them, the genre or not, I would watch them all. I love the Oscars. I used to love the Oscars. I would watch all the award season. I would watch the SAG Awards. I used to be into it. And then, like I said, I started seeing some of the movies. I think Slumdog Millionaire was the one that pissed me off the most. What year was that? That was 2008. And I also got tired of them giving awards to good, deserving people for movies that weren't the best the best ones of their career. Like I said, You Will Never Move Me Off the Rock, that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, is to this day the best Kate Winslet performance she's ever done. All right. And she lost out to $1 Million Baby, who Hilary Swank is a great actress. I saw $1 Million Baby. I liked $1 Million Baby. Hilary Swank wasn't the best actor in that year, in my opinion. Morgan Freeman won for that. Morgan Freeman should have won for Driving Miss Daisy. He should have won for Shawshank Redemption. He wins for the movie wasn't, in my opinion, the top tier of his movies. All right, so Slumdog Millionaire. All right, this is the one. This is the year that Heath Ledger won. So, I mean, they got things right. All right, so Slumdog Millionaire, Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I saw that. Frost Nixon was brilliant. Milk was brilliant. Yeah, Sean Penn won for that. The Reader was good. I thought all of those movies, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, I saw. Kathleen Kennedy, by the way, nominated for a Best Picture in that one. Were better than some. And I saw Slumdog Millionaire and was wondering, is there any magical way I can get my lifetime back that I spent watching that? Okay, Danny Boyle won for Slumdog Millionaire. No. David Fincher in my opinion, did a better job. Ron Howard did an amazing job. If you watch the interview for Frost Nixon and watch that movie, Gus Van Sant, Milk was a better movie. And Stephen Daldry for The Reader. Everybody was better than Slumdog Millionaire. So this is like, why am I watching this? And this was the year that they did the 5. This was like the last year. Now, Best Actor, Sean Penn for Milk. He was great. Frank Langella was great and Frost Nixon. Brad Pitt for Curious Case. All these were great. Mickey Rourke, I thought, was going to win it that year. Best Actor in a Supporting Role was obvious this year. Heath Ledger for The Dark Knight, posthumous. Only one of 2 people to get the award posthumously, and that was another Australian, Peter Finch for Network. One after he died. Josh Brolin's Brick was for Dan White. Man, I wanted to hate him. Robert Downey Jr. for Tropic Thunder. If it weren't for Heath Ledger, I think he wins. Philip Seymour Hoffman for Doubt was great. Michael Shannon for Revolutionary Road. This is before I saw him in Man of Steel. So yeah, best writing. I mean, yeah, this is the year that I stopped watching. 2008 was the year I stopped watching. But yeah, that was up until that point. I watched them all, dude. It was a family thing. Let's see. Tubi originals. They met Ed Kemper. Yeah, they did. They did. Okay, and that Ed Kemper there is not. Bella, have you watched Mindhunters? Because I feel that you are a serial killer watching Fabric as I am. You need to watch if you have not watched Mindhunter, and you see the Edmund Kemper that they got. Edmund Kemper was a creepy dude. Still is a creepy dude. He's still alive. 6'9", 300 pounds. Looks like if Barney the dinosaur was a serial killer, it's Edmund Kemper. They got a guy to play him. I don't know where they found this guy. I want them to put him back. He looks and sounds like him, and it's creepy. All right, let's see. Aaron, exercising the cruiser or light heavyweight title, except for this has no limitations. It was never upper or mid card. Yeah, X Division is more like a title. It's more like the X Division, and you saw that in the last pay-per-view that they did. The X Division is a style. Anybody can wrestle in the X Division, but it's a style that you're supposed to be wrestling, like Ultimate X, things like that. So it's more of a mid-card belt, but it was more to give people of that style a championship. Oh, dude. Okay, Mighty. I thought it was. It literally was like watching AstroTurf turn colors. I couldn't. Yeah, I know they got permission. I studied. Like I said, my teacher loved that movie, and I'm like, dude. Let's see. Yeah, it was, and it had some explicit. I mean, Kate Winslet doesn't mind getting naked, but she's getting naked with a really young dude, even though he's a grown man, but she's like way older than him. Yeah, it was kind of a yeah. But I said I think she's great. I think Kate Winslet is great at anything she does. What's the life of David Lane? Or David. I mean, it's a movie with Kevin Spacey, and it's their anti-death penalty, and they do this whole thing, and it's great. I don't think she's in anything that I don't like. Kitty's kinky. I mean, she's in things I would have not have seen were it for not her not being in it. So, but I'm Eternal Sunshine, and that's a movie that we really will do when we do get back to doing watch parties. Is one of the better movies I've seen in the last quarter century, and it's one that Jim Carrey should have been nominated for. And now we were in light of this nonsense, and remember how I always said, I think Jim Carrey gets hurt when it comes to recognition of these types of movies because he's considered a buffoon and that's what people expect of him. I could easily see these voters not even giving him a nomination and not even watching his movie for that. Which, like I said, it's okay for a customer, like a fan. That's not okay if you're supposed to be judging the best movies and the best actors. And I think the nominating, not only do I think the Academy Award process is obviously not good, I think the nominating process sucks too. So there you go. Yeah, it's happening. Ghost sucked. Ghost sucked. She's better in Jumping Jack Flash than she is in Ghost. Ghost sucked. Not even a good Whoopi performance. But they did that shit because of Color Purple. Because I'm sorry, she should have won for Color Purple. And who else has done? Like I said, Morgan Freeman, John Mr. I just gave you two movies that Morgan Freeman should have won for before he got for million. What? So yeah, they've done that before. I know Renee Zellweger. I know there's a lot of people that are like, and you're sitting there shocked. You're as shocked as you were when they should have won the award, and then they win it for something like that. I'm like, okay. All right, Mickey Rourke was dropped. I really thought he was going to win that year, but yeah. Forrest Gump was actually that was one of the ones I thought they got right, especially for him. Tom Hanks is one of the, I think, only one of two people to win back-to-back Academy Awards. He won it for, if you haven't seen Philadelphia was made in 1994 in the middle of the AIDS crisis before we had treatment like we do now. And that is a hard movie to sit watching him deteriorate. That's his best acting performance. And then Castaway, I thought he was going to win for that, but he didn't end up not winning for that. So Giannis choked again. LeBron will be gone tomorrow, and I think it's still going to be between the Clippers and Nuggets. The Clippers got blown out tonight, so I don't think they're doing anything, and I don't think they're coming back. LeBron might very well might be gone tonight. I wouldn't be surprised because they don't have any size. There's everything that's going, that Minnesota is exploiting against the Lakers. It has to do with the fact that you got Jackson Hayes, who is, he's 7 foot, but he ain't it. He is not what you need in that position, and everything else is that, Love RR. What's RR?
Oh, that do you mean the RR? I was thinking but that was like the triple R Bollywood movie that was big on Netflix. But you might have RR top tier. Hey, let me look at this up real quick.
I don't think it's going 7, but hey, who knows? It shouldn't have gone this far, to be honest with you. Okay, so you have seen Mindhunter. The guy who was playing him was in Top Gun Maverick. Oh, Sentry, yeah, Bob. He plays a guy named Bob in Top Gun Maverick, and he plays Sentry, who's Robert. What's his face? He plays a guy named Bob in Thunderbolts. That's hilarious. Leon said his movie was on SportsCenter today. Yeah, dude, I've been hearing a lot about that movie. I watched it live. His died. Damn, dude. I've been watching wrestling since the early 80s. There are very few things that make me do like this. That 450 that crazy fool did from like 15, 20 feet up. And then everybody's like, well, why didn't you guys catch him? That's a little bit harder than you think. And they did break his fall enough. He'd be dead if they didn't. But yeah, it was on SportsCenter. And Moose even reposted that because everybody's been dogging Moose. So Moose is like, everybody wants to be a quarterback, money quarterback when it comes to wrestling. Shut the fuck up. I mean, he's like just dropping F-bombs on him. But yeah, that dive he did was amazing. Well, what serial killer deserves a better film that hasn't got one yet? They overdid Bundy and Dahmer. BTK killer. The things BTK did lends itself into Hollywood, but there are some disturbing things that if you're going to do BTK and you're not going to do the explicit stuff that he did, then you don't do it. Like he bound and tied and gagged people and did, crazy shit. That's how he got off. We're going to get demonetized, pleasure himself while his victims suffocated with bags over their heads. But his story from 1974 until his dumb ass. By the way, I know you're not watching BTK because you're in jail. You evaded the police from 1974 to 2004 in a small town of Wichita, Kansas. Was like nobody living there. So you could probably throw a rock and you'd have caught the killer. You get caught in the dumbest way I've ever seen a criminal get caught. You ask the police if the floppy disk that you were typing your clues to them could be traced. What did you expect him to say? Yeah. No, they were trying to catch somebody who could evade law enforcement for 3 decades and get caught that way. Cut that out of the movie. But yeah, that's BTK would be the answer to that question. Listen, guys, I let go of the Oscars. It's just stunning that they're saying this out loud now. Oh, Robert Williams, Fisher King. Yeah, that was one. Mercedes Rule did win for that award, and she was very deserving of that. When did who beat? I think Fisher King got beat by. That was what. That's my favorite. That's to me the best Robin Williams movie. And that was by Terry Gilliam of Monty Python, which is weird to see the range. All right, 64th Academy Award. Okay, all right. This is why. This is one of those you can excuse it because Robin Williams was nominated the same year of one of the greatest cinematic performances of all time, the 17 minutes of Sir Anthony Hopkins and Hannibal Lecter. And my goodness, that was a loaded year. I saw each and every one of these movies. Warren Beatty was nominated for Bugsy. Robert De Niro and Cape Fear. Nick Nolte in Prince of Tides, which is a great movie, and Robin Williams in The Fisher King. So he lost. He lost in an award. It was like the Heath Ledger's Robert Downey Jr. Situation. Jonathan Demme won for Silence of the Lambs. Ridley Scott was actually nominated for Thelma and Louise, which I try to forget. So yeah, he wasn't. Robin Williams actually lost to a. Now there have been ties. There have been ties in Oscars. Barbara Streisand was one of the tie, I think, with Liza Minnelli, I think. But there have been ties, and if there was a case for a tie, it was that year. Because Robin Williams was in the movie, the entire movie. Fisher King, like I said, if you like Robin Williams and you haven't seen Fisher King, then you are cheating yourself, in my opinion. They seem threatened, William. They seem to be the Trent William. You're either Bill Belichick or Shannon Sharp. Well, I'd rather be Bill Belichick because he's not forcing himself on anybody. Yeah, I thought it's fun. Let's see. Okay, I'd hate to ban you from this channel, Bill. Yeah. All right, let's see. That was him. He got one already. Well, Robin Williams got one, but that's one of the reasons why Robin Williams actually should have got one for Good Morning Vietnam. He should have got one for Awakenings. He didn't get him. He got it for Good Will Hunting, which is a decent movie, but not his best performance. That's another one that they did. Let's see. Yeah, Richard Ramirez. I don't need to see that one. The only thing about Richard Ramirez was a movie where is when they caught his ass trying to steal a car in East LA. That ended exactly how you think it should. He got his ass whipped. Let's see. Jey Uso need to find another wrestler that can show off his skills like AJ. Well, AJ Styles, they waste him in Jake Paul matches. So yeah. Yeah, BTK did read up on BTK. That's a very disturbing. But like I said, in order to make a BTK movie, you're going to have to explore some elements that I don't think Hollywood is okay with all the time. Not on a big budget movie. All right, guys. Anything else?
I don't know. I think we kind of went to town on the whole Oscars.
I wonder what actual pundit shows. Like, I wonder what Campia had to say about that. I got to watch this show today.
Yeah, well, they might have talked about it yet, but
because that's this is the guy who watches that all the time. This is his favorite time of the year. And I'm like, it used to be mine. Like I said, but about 2008ish, this is when I was like, you know what? I'm not going to see all these movies, and I'm gonna watch I'm gonna watch segments. And as of like 2017, 2018, I just stopped watching the ceremony altogether. I'll watch the highlights or something like that, but I just stopped watching it. Like I said, the only time I went back to it is when everybody was texting me, "You see what Will Smith just did?" Because I had no intention of watching that ceremony, and I only watched that part of it, and then I went back to not watching the Oscars again. So that's where I'm at. James Corden as John Wayne Gacy. Ooh, he could play him. But they'll probably, they've made a lot of John Wayne Gacy movies. So. All right, that's where I'm going to wrap it up. And unless anybody has anything else, you got till 1:19 a.m. in the morning right now. You got till 1:22 to throw something at me to extend the show. Otherwise, I think we've ran out of shit to talk about, which is what you're supposed to do on an open topic.
Hans Moleman man getting hit by football. Well, yeah, but I mean, Aaron. I mean, the
What
one.
Is that? What is that?
That's from the whole Simpsons analogy you was making about.
Hey guys, I'm sorry. Every Simpson analogy is going to be lost on me because I stopped watching The Simpsons like 20 years ago when it wasn't funny anymore. The memes are funny. The memes of Simpsons are funny, but I don't think The Simpsons has been funny since maybe the late 90s. So when you throw memes at me, and I read them, I'm like, and I'm clueless because I just don't watch the show anymore. I think that's the Married with Children that's still left. And that's a show that probably should have went off the air 10 years before it did. That show stayed on the air like 20-something years. Cape Fear traumatized me. Yeah, I think it traumatized him too. Didn't know. Oh, yeah. His girlfriend didn't want to be interviewed, so she didn't want to discuss how they met. Probably at a strip club.
There's that timeless classic man getting hit by football. Not only that, we got right here another GIF on the second film festival on that episode where Mr. Burns tries to bribe the judges again. He lost to the George C. Scott version.
I'm totally lost.
My groin!
Totally lost on this.
Hold on.
Jeez.
Well, this is Homer's review there. The ball, his groin. Give that man the $10,000.
How does that show? Does that people still watch that show, or do they keep it?
Well, I mean, I still tune in here and there, but I mean, it's green lit for like 10 more seasons. Started around 30.
Because I don't know anybody who's obviously they whatever. The only little meme I know is when he's coming in and out of the bushes, and people fuck with that. So.
Well, yeah, because that's like a riff on Terminator 2 with the T-1000 like phasing through the prison bars.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
The first version did get screwed, but the George C. Scott sequel that covered that. That's why it won, because it's the same thing that they did Return of the King with that. It's like the one with Hans Moleman. That's the Two Towers version of man getting hit by football.
All right, we know we've ran out of
the King.
We've ran out of shit to talk about whenever the Simpson comes up on a show where my face is on the same screen.
Man getting hit by football. Hans Moleman Productions presents.
Get it off my screen. Get it off the screen. I don't know why we've gotten why we haven't gotten a Genghis Khan or a Kublai Khan. Well, Marco Polo with Kublai Khan. How they haven't used the Three Doors Down song in the Superman movie. What's up tonight? They might. I don't know what's on the soundtrack. It could be. Or I mean, Five for Fighting has that song that they use on Smallville. But that's not a Superman show. That's a Clark Kent show. Technically, that's not a Superman show. It's Clark Kent. Until 2 seconds, and he got to be held by gunpoint to put the suit on, which I think it would have been an honor to put the Superman suit on. I don't understand why he had an issue with it. It's a lot of shit about that show I don't understand. So, all right, guys, let's see. Hopefully, The Rock makes a Hawaiian King biopic. I don't know. I don't think I'd go see it. I'm not even going to go see the MMA thing he did. So
I'm definitely going to see it.
I mean, I like The Rock. It's entertaining, but he has to be in something that entertains me in order to be like if he did a movie about him being a chef, I'm not going to go see it.
I'd be down for him doing a movie where he fights Superman. I'm just throwing that out there.
Probably never going to happen, unfortunately, which is kind of sad because I thought that would have been money for them.
I mean, Warner Brothers. I mean, they're in the business.
Well, those guys are gone. The people who passed on that are actually gone. So I can't really, they've been scattered across the entertainment world and hopefully doing better in jobs that they're suited for. I don't know what.
Not holding my breath on that one.
Well, Hamada went right back to what he was doing before. He'll be fine. I don't know where Emmerich is doing his own production. So
they haven't. How have they not used 3 Doors Down in a Superman movie? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
good question.
They may.
The Rock could have been. I don't know. Could you see him with John Henry Irons?
Yeah, because he, I mean, but then again, I couldn't see him in some white MMA fighter. So I mean, that's what makeup and wardrobe will do for you. That's a hard question to ask me if you could see him doing so because it's the antithesis of what I am as far as like, okay, I'm against fan casting. Yeah, it's fun sometimes, but we're using criteria that will never be what a producer or a casting director is looking for. So yeah, I wouldn't do business with that man, especially after the crap. Yeah, the WrestleMania thing. But you know what? I once again, I blame Triple H. I blame Ari Emanuel. They were the bosses. They told him where to be. And they let him say no. I'm like, you work for me. We're paying you. We're flying you out here. You're going to be where we need you to be. And yeah, no, I mean Triple H is safe. Triple H is safe. They're not. He's not going nowhere. He's Samoan.
Yeah, he's half.
Black.
He's like
So
black and Samoan.
So he's got enough Polynesian in him, and he's playing a white guy. I mean, I can't. How can you ask that question? Have you seen him? Yeah, I'm on. Is that Paramount?
I'm on Paramount. Yeah.
And
please stay there and don't ever make Cabo lose again, man.
Well, like I said, Marvel could probably hire him and he'd do a great job.
Oh god.
The reason being is you're only as good as the infrastructure that you're in. If you have bad bosses, I've seen employees go other places and do great. If you have bad bosses, that's who gets the blame.
Rock is doing the movie. Yeah, he's got some of the Scorsese and DiCaprio coming up. He actually, that the one he just had come out Christmas Red. I didn't love it, but it was. I mean, like it was a good like kind of holiday season time waster. Our Red one.
That's all it was, and it was on streaming, so it wasn't like you really needed.
And that's where like, it was pegged as this flop, and then Amazon comes out and says, "Oh, we made like 10 times as much on Amazon with this movie that we did in theaters." So it's like, okay, they're happy with it.
Yeah, The Rock is a businessman. He shows up where he gets paid. I didn't hear what he said. I thought he basically vetoed the idea. He didn't think he needed to be there. And I'm like, okay, if I'm Ari Emanuel, his boss, or if I'm Triple H, the person who he's supposed to be working with or under, then I'm like, no, you're going to be there. And I think if somebody would have said, no, Rock, you're going to be there, I don't think Rock would have resisted that. But because I wasn't in the room where that happens. I blame The Rock because he's interfering with Triple H. Well, Ari Emanuel asked The Rock to be there because he wanted to boost the sales of Elimination Chamber. Ari Emanuel they're all their bosses, so you can't really blame him. He was asked to come in. He had no plans of coming in. He was asked to come in, and Ari Emanuel did not make him show up to WrestleMania 41. That's on him. Why? He's making money hand over fist. Why? He's crying all the way to the bank. Why would he stop doing when he still
fight Superman and then you can retire?
Okay, so I know nothing about Mark Curb. Okay, that's fine, but the guy whoever that is clearly much lighter. Is much lighter than The Rock. Okay, so that's all I know. Well, The Rock is black and Polynesian, but he's much darker than the guy he's playing. I don't recognize The Rock. I looked at The Rock. I'm like, that can't be.
Well, they had that one set photo come out too that had him like with all like the facial prosthetics and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's also it's A24, so it's like they always got like some kind of like art house angle to anything they do.
Because they had a deal with Ben Affleck that it would be get a theatrical release, and it didn't hurt them. It's not going to hurt them to put it. They put it in theatrical release for a few weeks, and then they just put it on Amazon, and they can say, "Hey, it's just straight out of the theaters."
Oh, I think you're talking about this one, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
sure.
Isn't the count on Amazon? Yeah, it's a Amazon Universal or Amazon MGM movie, whatever. But yeah, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt Amazon to put that in the theaters because they're going to get their return when they put it on rental, and then when they put it on there for free to their subscribers, because their subscribers are going to go there and they're going to see it. So that's why it doesn't hurt them.
Yeah, go back to this one. He's making more of them at New Line. Was Hamada, if he stayed in New Line, he'd still be. Well, I mean, it's under the Warner Brothers umbrella, but
that's what he's good at.
Yeah. He involved. Oh, he's about The Rock here. He involved himself through storylines since he's been back. Cody, Roman, and Cena, and all of them have crashed and burned.
No, they didn't. They all drew attraction to the bottom line. This one crashed and burned because of the WWE management didn't feel important enough for Even when they knew, Ari Emanuel and Triple H knew for quite some time that The Rock wasn't going to be there. So they had every opportunity to say, no, Rocky, you need to be there. We're paying you this amount of money. You need to be there. They knew, but he said, because he took himself out of the storyline. But even though he is a board member, Ari Emanuel is the chairman of the board. He's the owner of TKO. If Ari Emanuel thought it was important enough to be there, he's there. There's no, I mean, you can blame. I don't blame the employee. I blame the boss. It's always what I'm going to do. I have never watched a second of Pride. I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, I love Pride too. I mean, I get like UFC. They're kind of the big dog and all the MMA. But like we said before, on the one championship, they're climbing up there.
Just hope Rock is still a marketable individual. You cannot in any way, shape, or form compare him to Hulk Hogan. They were booing Hulk Hogan because he's racist. They were booing Hulk Hogan because some of the shit he pulled with his son and the accident his son caused, and them trying to get out of all that. They're booing Hulk Hogan for a lot of things. The Rock doesn't get booed like that, unless he's turning himself into a heel.
Yeah, exactly.
The Rock didn't, The Rock did what he was asked to do and would have done if Ari Emanuel, the boss, would have said, no, Rock, for the sake of this storyline, we need you there. Triple H needs you there. The Rock would have been there. Hulk Hogan is an individual that I run out of words to describe. He cannot be put into the same classification as The Rock. And like I said, The Rock, people still love The Rock outside of the whole thing. Yeah. People really don't like Hulk Hogan, and for a good reason.
Yeah, it's not apples and oranges. It's like apples and like, I don't know, what's like the opposite of apples.
Ask yourself if Hulk Hogan pulled this in 2002. He did. On the Rock, he knew he was going to lose WrestleMania before the match happened. The way before, yeah. But once again, you're talking 2002, where The Rock ruled the world. I mean, he could do whatever he wanted to.
And that was before he really ruled the world. Like 10 years later, when he like really kicked off his with Fast and Furious and all that.
Well, every instance where people want to blame The Rock on any of these levels, there's usually a boss that had more control and either wasn't doing their job or did their job poorly. All The Rock does is fill a vacuum when no one is. If your boss lets you do something that's counter to the product being presented, that's the boss's fault. All right. If your production company is on autopilot, while The Rock, who spent a lot of money and a lot of capital getting that movie together for the last 5 years, if the company is on autopilot and he decides to come in and sit in the captain's chair, that's I'm blaming the captain. The Rock weasels in where he is allowed to because people who are supposed to be doing their jobs leave that void. I can't blame him for trying to fill that void. Yeah, he may not do it good. He may not be the one that should be doing it. But like I said, if nobody else is going to sit in the chair, I would do the same exact thing he did. Oh my goodness! You're doing that. Are you doing that with an Australian voice there? Oh well, he was never supposed to be a serial. He was a big cartoon character, is what he was. But like I said, if I'd have known what I know about him now, I wouldn't have watched him. Nobody would have watched. He would have lost a lot of fans. There's a lot of us brown folk watching Hulk Hogan. Eat your vitamins, grow up, do the right thing, saying all that bullshit, and here he is. He wouldn't want to be 10 feet near me. So, okay, fine. All right, guys, that really is it. We're almost at 2 hours for Midnight Express. So, like I said, last night's show, before Brad popped in late as fuck again.
Almost only like 8 minutes behind.
Last night's show was special. I really enjoyed that show. I put that in one of my top 5 shows that we've done since I've started the channel. It just went where it needed to go. It had no destination. It just went where you guys. That was probably the best chat participation we've had in probably a year. Where I wasn't terrified to look into what to see the chat was saying. It was actually engaging. We brought up things.
Very dry, you might say.
No. Well, now I'll have to edit that out now. But we, like I said, we watched commercials. We talked about things that, that we all could relate to and remember. Some of you guys could relate. I mean, I never thought in my life I would hear the term Jack Steffen again. And I didn't know that didn't know I could find that on YouTube. Kyle Worthington and his dog Spot. a psychopath before psychopaths were on the internet. That old man being on a biplane strapped to his feet. We showed you that last night. Santa's Village, all the other creepy stuff that we were talking about. The guy, the micro machines guy that somebody brought up. Like I said, those kind of shows were just out of nowhere fun. And on a night that I had no plans on doing a show, and those sometimes the ones where I just pop up out of nowhere and don't have a topic, and it ends up with serial killers or shit like that, or those are sometimes the best shows. The ones I don't even plan. I spend a lot of time trying to plan the shows that we do, structured shows, and then sometimes you just pull one out of your ass. That was the night. I really enjoyed listening to that show last night. So for those of you all who were there last night, if you haven't watched that show, we're gonna have more shows like that where I just show up unannounced and just hit it, because like I said, sometimes this is the best remedy. All right, guys, I am okay. The reason why he was booed that night in LA because people heard all these stories from his peers about what kind of person he was. Well, yeah, yeah, okay. What's wrong with Hulk Hogan? Google him. A lot more than I have time for on this show. Let's just say he's not a very inclusive person. Well, yeah, but see, the Undertaker supported Trump, had him on his show, had him on his podcast, but the Undertaker's not a piece of shit. The Undertaker's not a racist. The Undertaker's not a misogynist. The Undertaker's son didn't damn near put somebody in a wheelchair and then try to not even own up for responsibility when the DUIs and stuff came out. The Undertaker made a political decision that I don't necessarily agree with, but as a person, the Undertaker does not do with Hulk Hogan has been doing. So let's say, yeah, there you go. I'll just leave it at that. All right, guys. That is it for me tonight. We'll see you for the Hump Day show tomorrow. Maybe we'll have a designated topic. Maybe we'll not. Maybe I'll just run my mouth and have fun. But until then, please like, subscribe. If you're local, come out to Free Comic Book Day. That's in a few days. I will be seeing Thunderbolts sometime Thursday. So I will be doing an out-of-theater review for everybody fucks it up for me. And I'll do a non-spoiler review. And then later on that evening, we will talk a little bit.
William froze when he's talking about what we're going to talk about.
Okay. I went in a circle, but yeah, we will talk about Thunderbolts in deeper context with a spoiler review on Saturday as well, along with the other topics that we will be talking about on the Free Comic Book Day. All right. Have a good morning. Get some sleep. Do whatever it is you do to make it to the next day. And I will see you on the other side.
Later, dudes.